The Galactic Council chamber fell silent when Gunnery Sergeant Marcus Chen walked through the crystalline doors. It wasn't his battle-scarred armor or the plasma rifle slung across his back that made the assembled aliens pause. It was the way their translation devices shrieked and died one by one as he approached the central dais. Ambassador Thackrell of the Vorentine Empire was the first to recover. Her 4 eyes blinked in sequence as she gestured toward the human with a trembling appendage. "Impossible," she breathed. Her words rendered in standard galactic through the chamber's backup systems. The script on his arm, "It cannot be." Chen glanced down at his right forearm where black ink formed intricate symbols beneath his rolled sleeve. He'd gotten the tattoo during shore leave on Titan Station. Picked it from a flashbook because it looked cool. The artist said it was ancient Earth stuff. Cost him 2 weeks' pay. "Just a tattoo, ma'am," Chen said, addressing the council. "Got it years ago." The eldest of the Catharian collective rose from its floating throne, its gaseous form swirling with agitation. "Human," it said, its voice resonating through every translator in the room. "Do you understand what you carry on your flesh?" Chen shrugged. "Some old language. Dead, I think. Nobody knows what it means." "Dead," repeated Ambassador Thackrell, her translator finally rebooting. "Yes, dead for 3 billion years." The chamber erupted into chaos. A dozen species began talking at once, their translators creating a cacophony of overlapping voices. Chen's hand instinctively moved toward his sidearm, but Captain Morrison, his commanding officer, touched his shoulder and shook her head. "Wait." The eldest raised what might have been a hand, and silence fell like a hammer. "Explain yourself, Florentine. 3 billion years is older than most starfaring civilizations." Thackrell's skin shifted through colors Chen's eyes couldn't quite process. "The language is Zathresh. It was the first language, the language of the architects who seeded the galaxy with life. When we discovered their ruins on the 7th planet of the Kepler system, our greatest linguists spent decades trying to decode a single word. Our translation matrices burned out attempting to process it. The language operates on principles that shouldn't exist. It writes directly to consciousness, bypassing sound and symbol." She pointed at Chen. "Yet his primitive body ink renders it perfectly." "I can read it. We can all read it, even species without visual organs. It says, 'I am the storm that remembers.'" Chen felt a chill run down his spine. "That's not possible. I picked at random. The guy who did it was drunk off his ass." "Perhaps," said the eldest. "Or perhaps your species has always carried this knowledge, sleeping in your genetic code. The architects disappeared long before humanity evolved, but their mark remains on your world more than any other. Earth has 17 architect sites. The next highest count is 4. Captain Morrison stepped forward. "With respect, elders, what does this mean for the war?" "The war? That's why they were here." The Devourers had entered galactic space 3 months ago, consuming entire star systems. They couldn't be reasoned with, couldn't be stopped. Every weapon the Council possessed had failed. Humanity had joined the fight 2 weeks ago and they were losing badly. Thackrell's colors settled into a deep blue. "We found something in the Kepler ruins. A weapon, or perhaps a key? It requires activation through Zathresh command protocols. We have been unable to use it." Understanding dawned on Chen's face. "You need me to read something?" "More than read," the eldest said. "The language must be spoken, or rather experienced. When the architects communicated, they didn't use sound waves. They used consciousness itself. The tattoo on your arm, it's not ink. Not anymore. The moment you entered this chamber, our sensors detected quantum fluctuations in your neural pathways. The symbols have bonded with your mind." Chen looked at his tattoo again. In the chamber's light, it seemed to shimmer, moving in ways ink shouldn't move. "So what do I do?" "Come with us to Kepler 7, Thackrell said. Attempt to activate the weapon. If you fail, the Devourers will reach the core worlds within a cycle. Trillions will die. And if I succeed," the eldest form pulsed. "The weapon is labeled in Zathresh. Roughly translated, the storm that remembers. The same phrase on your arm. We believe it's a failsafe the architects left behind, a weapon that can only be wielded by a species worthy of inheritance." Morrison looked at Chen. "It's your call, Gunny." Chen had joined the Marines to see the galaxy, to be part of something bigger than himself. He'd never imagined this. a dead language on his arm connecting him to ancient aliens who'd disappeared before humanity had even crawled out of the ocean. It was insane. But he'd seen what the Devourers did. Entire planets scoured clean, populations numbering in the billions simply gone. If there was even a chance this weapon could stop them, he had to try. "When do we leave?" he asked. The Krell's colors brightened. "Immediately." As they filed out of the chamber, Chen caught the eldest watching him with what might have been hope. He thought about his tattoo, picked at random by a drunk Marine on shore leave. Maybe it wasn't random at all. Maybe humanity had been preparing for this moment for 3 billion years, carrying the architect's gift in their DNA, waiting for the day when the storm would need to remember what it was. The dead language had no surviving speakers, that was true. But perhaps it had something better. Humanity, the unwitting heirs to a legacy written in stars and skin, ready to speak words that would shake the galaxy awake.